Good afternoon, everybody. We're gonna have a discussion with Ora about her last book. You have to reverse. I don't know if I can do it here. I cannot have the reverse image. So the book is titled Time to Awaken, and the subtitle is Changing the World with Conscious Awareness by Ora Nadrich. So we're gonna have a discussion about this book. I have not read all the book. I read almost half of it. These are things that I'm speaking about also in my life. So for me, I cannot say there is something new, but I really love the way it's organized. And it's like a little guide to put all your information together. And it's really amazing, the research that she did. And it's a lot of work. I admire this because it's 30 years I want to write a book. I never did. So for me, someone who write a book is like, wow, it's amazing to be able to do that. I'm too lazy. I write 2 pages, and after I'm taking in some other creation, and after I forget about it, and I would have to have only that to do. But it's really hard for me. It's really hard also to stay seated at the table and stay days and writing. So I'm curious about this process. So I would love to know a little bit about how she's dealing with that. Hey, Abel, I see you from Texas. Thank you, Abel. Hi. So let's see. Let's see if Ora is here, and we're gonna have this chat about this book. Ora. Yes. Nice to see you.
Hi,
Nice to see.
so nice to see you too.
Yeah, the connection is real today. You are like pixelized a little bit, you know.
Emma, gosh, let me see
Yeah,
if I can.
it's okay. You cannot do anything. I think maybe it's going to stabilize when we are more in touch. So
Yeah,
I don't know if you hear what I was saying about how many books did you wrote?
this is my fourth book. I did write a journal when I wrote Live True, a mindfulness guide to authenticity, which is up here. I wrote a journal during the time when we were, should I say, locked down or locked up. I decided to write a journal, which is sort of just a really lovely book to for people to have written in what really makes them feel the most authentic. So I would say five, but this is my fourth, actual solid book.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm curious because I know you since quite a while now, and we have always this discussion like there are in your book. And so, as I said, there are not really thing new for me, but I really admire the way you organize all these informations. And I'm curious to know, why did you decide to write this one after the last one that we did live not so long ago about
That's
it?
right. That's right. And I always love our conversations. I never thought to write another book that quickly. Writing books is like giving birth.
Yeah.
You don't have a baby and go, "Oh, okay, I think I'll have another one right away." So I wrote Mindfulness and Mysticism, and it was during the time. So let me backtrack. I guess 6 months ago, we had a very powerful moon. I don't know which. It was like one in a literally a blue moon. It was like a red moon. Anybody who's very big into moon and astrology would know what I'm talking about. If you go back
Oh,
about that, can you
yeah.
hear me?
Yes, I hear you
So,
now.
so anyway, there was this very, very, very powerful moon, and I woke up the next day, and it's interesting. I have these very large trees in my backyard, and one of them fell over onto
Oh,
my
yeah, you
pool.
told me about that. I remember.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I woke up with this vision for this book. I woke up with this very, very powerful message. You know, I do believe that we are guided for whatever reasons. You know, what you can call it inspiration, you can call it guidance, you can call it, you know, divine providence. It doesn't really matter. I felt very guided to write this book.
I listened to you. I have a coyote right here.
Oh, wow. Animal medicine. I love that.
Yeah, he's right here. He's come to drink because I put some water under the tree. He's right there. It's a beautiful animal.
That's such
Yeah,
great timing for us, for
yeah,
this
exactly.
animal
Exactly.
to show
Yeah.
up during this conversation. I believe in that. Do you know?
Especially the coyotes and wolf and, these very powerful and beautiful animals.
Yes.
Really nice. Yeah, so this came like that. And
It came
how
very
did
strong. It came very strong to me. And what happened was, is that I kept thinking to myself, something very major is happening on the planet. Something very major is happening to all of us. And we are in the midst of a great awakening. And
yeah,
that kept coming to me over and over again, that we're in this midst of a great awakening. I said, why is it that I keep feeling like this period is about us waking up? And my book is about waking up. It's literally about those that feel very called right now and know that they're being called to wake up to a greater knowledge, to a greater understanding of what is evolving and what is taking place on the planet. And there are those that just don't see it. And I don't mean to put those people down, but I do say in my book, I consider them sleepwalkers, because I don't really know how you could have the world change as drastically as it has changed, and for people not to be fully waking up to see this.
yeah, because I think everybody has his own rhythm, and we came, all of us here right now on this planet. I cannot say with a purpose, but maybe yes. I don't believe in mission and things like that. But we came, all of us, in this time to live this thing all together, this situation all together. So we are not living the same experiences, and some people maybe need more time, maybe don't need to have this, to see these things, or to be, but it's so big, it's so, and uh, as we spoke last day, I am cut from the media and all that, and the information I get, sure, through social media, of discussion I follow politic, economic podcasts and this kind of thing. But because I became interested, paradoxically, in politics. Me who don't like that. But politics in the proper term of the word, meaning politics is to take care of the people. So I'm interested to see how this is articulating all around the world. It's fascinating. Now I'm like, really interested about that. So, but I have this time where I am alone with myself in silence, taking care of the plants outside of nature and thing. And I have this insight coming so strongly, like, because there is nothing that goes interference. And they come so strongly, and I'm like, yes, it's evident that it's that. The change we are going through, I think some days ago, I felt the amplitude of how big it is, like I never felt before.
Mm-hmm.
I was
Mm-hmm.
like, wow, this is what is happening. It's not only a change in our lives and all these societies and that, it's a change at a bigger level. And it makes sense because we go in the Aquarius era, and it's not at all the same energy than the Pisces era. So it was like, wow, it's the universe that is changing. It's not only us.
Well, in my lifetime, and I'm perhaps in your lifetime, and most people that are listening to this, When have we ever lived in a time in history where the world, the entire world globally, not just part of the world, the entire planet was affected by something
Yeah.
at the same time? This is unprecedented. This is a global shift. This is a shift to our world, to our reality as we have known it up to now.
Mm.
And this is unlike anything we've ever experienced in our lifetime. That's why when I use the word awaken, you know, to not know what is happening right underneath our noses or right before our eyes is pretty extraordinary to me. And yes, people are at different points in their evolution and people are in their different phases of their own life journey. I understand that. But because so much is out in front of us and things are becoming more obvious and things are becoming even more blatant, it's hard not to see a lot of what is
but
happening.
I hear you totally. We speak a lot about that. But what I sometimes I try to put myself in the shoes of these people, and I have the feeling that it's so overwhelming that they shut.
I think so. I
And
think I
they
think
don't
so.
want to go there
Yes.
because it's their survival to don't go there.
Yes. Yes. I
It
agree with you. I agree with you, Yasmina. I do say in Time to Awaken, I say so, most people exist to exist, meaning that we wake up and we're very concerned about our survival. That's usually what fuels people. Are they going to be okay? Are they going to stay one more day alive? You know, it's human
yeah,
nature to be concerned about your survival. But we spent 2 years in a heightened state of fear because all that was being fed to us was that our survival was being threatened, which is a very unnatural way to live. Imagine living for 2 years in a heightened state of fear.
yeah.
It's not natural.
It's not natural. Me, I don't put myself in the we because I have not at all experimented that. And I speak about this in the beginning, and everybody can feel that I'm really at peace. I'm not under the fear, under the pressure of that, because maybe also I'm living a little bit in margin of the society in a way. So I'm not, in touch with these frequencies very much. But people who are living in cities, for example, it's very, very hard. People who are going to work every single day, I refuse. I make the choice to don't work anymore in the field I'm working because I don't want to be under the nonsense and the pressure of the rules. So I don't go, but it's my choice. But some people don't have the choice. Me, I do. I take this choice because I trust the universe since very young that I will always have what I need. I'm not scared to don't miss anything, to don't. Yes, I lost a lot of money last year, but I didn't lost it. I preserved myself. I have no regrets at all. So these are choices, but to make these choices, you have to be used to be in a way to have trust in life.
Absolutely. And my last book to this book is called Mindfulness and Mysticism. And I wrote that book because I wanted to take my reader into the understanding that we really can live life on very many multiple dimensions or very many levels of awareness. And this is when you start to really go into a very, you can call it oneness, feeling very connected to everything and everyone on the planet. When you're in that state, and you can call it connecting to the sacred, connecting to the divine, connecting to source. I don't really care about names or labels, but you feel, we those of us that have gone there, we know what that feels like.
Mm-hmm.
And there is no fear there. There's
Yeah,
absolutely no fear there. We feel that we are connected to the universe, connected to the cosmos, connected to this existence in such a way that nothing can penetrate it. And it's a very beautiful way to live.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
believe it's the most natural way to live.
yeah. It's a still point. It's a place that is somewhere out of time and space that we can all reach
Yes.
because we are beyond this body. We are much more than that physical body. You know, this is just a tool that we have to experiment through the senses, life on planet Earth, but we are much more than that. When we are at this consciousness of who we are, there is no fear. Because also it's a higher vibration, it's a higher frequency. Fear is very low frequency.
Yes.
So
And we
it's
know it.
People have been maintained in low fear frequency,
Right.
in low frequency by fear,
right,
since a long time. But I'm always positive. I'm always, but this is exactly what we need as a collective level, to desire to have a change. Desire come from frustration.
Right.
When we are frustrated enough, we start to have an idea of creating with our imagination something else. Because I think this era that is coming, and we are just on the edge of it at the beginning, people has to realize who they are as entities, and that the way they think, I always speak about that in my video, your mindset, the way you think gonna model your reality. This is really that. So if someone, all this government thing bring you on a low frequency, you are more on all that is material, you know, very low frequency. But and you cannot work with your imagination, because imagination comes from a point beyond the body. Consciousness is not in the brain, it's beyond that.
That's
and this consciousness, we can all access to it, because we are this.
Right.
We are this field of consciousness.
Yes.
So now it's a time where people can start to realize their dimension, who they are really, not only the physical, but it's just a tiny point, and what is all can stay around, invisible. And it's with that imagination, I say always, it's image in action. Where you can put image in action, you imagine something that is different than the narrative that is. And all my life I experiment that. Something is coming, it's not really pleasant. I don't want this unpleasant thing. I imagine something else, how it can be different.
Yeah.
And like by miracle, without expecting anything. And like by miracle, things are transforming. Because if I get imagination, it's because I was open to get a field of information coming from the unconscious collective.
Exactly. And, you know, that's really what this time is. It's an incredible time of transformation. And if we can really stay within the frequency of our own being, do you know, and really that's why it's so beautiful for us to connect to ourselves deep within, and to connect to that inner place. It's a sacred place. Do you know, I love that Rumi quote. I looked into churches, temples, and mosques, but I found the divine within myself. You know, that is within us. We don't need to look for it outside of ourselves. That's why I think, you know, the thrust of my book, all my books are mindfulness based, and mindfulness is the practice of being in the present moment with total awareness. So if we're aware of when we are susceptible to believing the noise, or, you know, the words that are being said by others, or we decide to go within to our own inner temple and hear the truth that is there, that is how I prefer to live. I don't want to live hearing the noise and the distractions that are external and let that determine my reality. That is not what should determine our reality.
What I love about the book that I read so far, maybe half of it, what I love about this book is totally different from the last one.
Yeah.
And I love, it's like a guide. It's like a guide where you can evaluate every time regarding the information you get, where you are, and how you can connect them together. It's very interesting. Very, very pleasant to read. You want to know more. it's really, I'm amazed about all the research you did about that to make that happen. It's really amazing.
Thank you, Yasmina. You know, I have to tell you, I did a lot of research in this book because I was curious and I wanted to know more. And I always love to write, and it's as if I'm talking to Yasmina. When I write, it's like I'm talking to you, and I want you to come on this journey with me. Do you know? So we
Mm.
go on this journey together, and I say it would be like if I'm saying, Yasmina, you know, I'm so curious about all of the changes that are going on in the world. Do you see it? Do you feel it? We know because you and I talk, and we
Yeah.
talk a lot about this. And it's like we can say, what do you think of advanced technology? What do you think of transhumanism? What do
Mm.
you think of the fact that, you know, artificial intelligence is becoming more dominant? And I understand that we are in the future. We are advancing so quickly. So I'm going into these areas because I'm curious. I want to understand, what is transhumanism? Why is there a desire
Sure.
for us to move towards this type of technology that doesn't really talk about the heart and the soul? It talks about robots and machines and artificial intelligence, which probably serves a purpose, will serve a purpose on the planet, but it doesn't serve a purpose in my heart and soul. So
Yeah.
and I cover a lot of that territory because I want the reader to know these are changes that are happening. Just be aware of them. Be it the observer. Be aware that we are changing so fast. There are
Mm.
things that are becoming digitalized very quickly. There are things that are becoming more about surveillance. There are things that are coming about that might threaten our freedom. Just be aware of the changes that you're seeing. That's what I want to tell my reader. All the while I'm saying, trust your own heart, trust your own soul, let
Mm.
your own inner guidance lead the way. Even though we may perceive the external is, you know, these types of entities, which I don't even really think are meant to guide us on our sovereign journey. We are meant to guide ourselves.
Yeah, because what people is also to understand is that every time they are bombarded by things with fear of death, of all that, and they don't put in motion their inner imagination to create another reality, uh, the frequency of the collectives goes down. But
Yes.
they don't have a lot to do. They just have to be aware that this exists and imagine something else, something that they would enjoy. By the fact, if we are allowed to do that, energy is going to shift from this low frequency to a higher one. It's very invisible, it's very subtle. I think we have to understand, to be really, it's very difficult even to put words on that, that our way to function since thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of years, going to totally change. This is what is at stake now. It's
Yes.
not only because we're going to change from digital to that, it's more than that. Because if humanity become aware of its dimension as entity, invisible beings with a physical body to experiment on Earth, we will not be able to function like we were functioning for hundreds and thousands of years. So the whole humanity gonna change to something that we don't know now, the shape it
Yes.
takes.
Yes.
And why
Yes.
not artificial intelligence if well employed? But the problem is, who gonna, you know, be
You just said
accountable?
it, Yasmina. I say that in the book. You brought up something very important. I don't have a problem knowing that we are in the future and we are evolving very quickly, mind, body, spirit, technology wise. We're evolving so fast. I get it. But what I question existentially, those are my own questions that I ask of this life that I'm living in, this incarnation. If things like artificial intelligence are becoming more advanced in the technology and are going to serve a purpose, maybe replace people on their jobs. You know, we talked about the last time Flippy, the new robot that's in fast food restaurants that is flipping burgers faster than humans can. We know this is going to happen. So we can accept it knowing that it is inevitable, but we also know that a lot of people who are behind this, and this is, by the way, legitimate. I talk about it in the book. Even a lot of the researchers, a lot of the artificial intelligence researchers in Silicon Valley are very concerned about the future of AI. Why? Because who is going to be behind it? Who are the powers that be that are going to be controlling this type of advanced technology? Are they conscious human beings? I don't think a lot of these people, I mean,
and all this, the game is there. And this is the thing. It's for that. More people are going to be aware about what is going on. More they're going to inside desire something else. And more these one that are directing like they want, and less this one will have power. Because it's not going in the sense, in the way they want them. I think the majority of people on the planet, they just want to be happy with their family, enjoy life. They don't, you know, like people, for me, people are good. But these people who are directing all that, up to what point they are still, I can say, humans. Up to what point they are not controlled, and it's difficult to put words, by alien intelligence. And alien intelligence doesn't mean little cartoons green coming from another planet.
No,
Alien
not at all.
You know, alien, we know since a couple of years, there are a lot of people who have been with some little alien creature in their bodies. And this is alien intelligence. And this is, I think the game is more there. How are we going to keep our humanity evolving towards spiritual beings?
Yes, that is another very important point. And that's really what I present in Time to Awaken. We have a choice. Do we want to really preserve our spiritual nature? Do we want to really preserve what is most real and most natural on this planet? Or are we that enamored? Or are we that infatuated? Are we that seduced by technology? Do you know? I mean, this is a real dualistic conversation of reality right now, because there are a lot of people, we know who some of them are, like the Elon Musks and the Zuckerbergs and the ones that are creating very advanced technology. Somebody like Mark Zuckerberg, who created Metaverse, from my understanding, I don't follow stocks, but it has really taken a deep dive. It's not taking off.
Yeah, but it's because people are awakening.
People are awakening. They're like, excuse me, Mr. Zuckerberg, you may not like this reality. You want to go into a virtual reality. I don't want to go into a virtual reality. I want to be in this reality. You know, we don't have to create, you know, listen, you can live in multiple realities. I get that. But I would like to experience this reality without being pushed or forced to accept that I need to have an avatar in a virtual reality that's another version of Ora that isn't even real. I mean, you know, I feel like it's a lot of their fantasies. It's a lot of their futuristic fantasies. And a lot of those guys that are in those positions, like a Mark Zuckerberg or an Elon Musk, who, you know, I think his whole involvement in Neuralink, I mentioned that in the book about microchipping. You can't talk about this today. That's what I want people to do, is get aware, do your own research. This is not conspiracy theories. These are real things that real people are trying to put into place.
You know what came to me when you were speaking is that this virtual reality world, meta thing, metaverse and all, in fact, they search, they try to create what exists already, because it's what we are, this invisible dimension of us.
Right.
And they don't have access to it, and it's like an attempt to have access to that dimension. For me, I see it like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's like when people started to do selfies. Some people said, oh, they do selfies all the time. And me, I was taking a little bit, a step back and observing. And for me, it became really clear, like, it's not by chance they do this, always taking the same pictures, more or less the face and like that, and again and again. It's because they attempt to manifest the beauty of the divine in the physical world. So they try to find the best angle, the best light, where this beauty of them resonate with another beauty of the divine, which we are all in touch with.
Right.
And for
Right.
me, the virtual reality that is going on, and the avatar and all, it's an attempt to be in touch with that other bigger dimension of themselves.
Yes, very well said. And I think that that is exactly what the overarching theme for a lot of these futurists is about, is that let's make us more perfect. Because if you really research, or you read the book, I researched transhumanism and the futurists, they talk a lot about how our imperfections, that we're very imperfect, that we were created imperfect. We get old, we get sick,
Yeah,
we
but
die.
this is you.
But if you're an avatar, or you're a spiritual computer, as Ray Kurzweil says, who's a big proponent of transhumanism, a Google engineer, let's be perfect human beings. Let's be spiritual computers or robots, and we can connect ourselves up like a computer, and we'll live forever. It's an interesting vision, because for me, it's so soulless. It has nothing to do with the soul at
No,
all.
because it is, how I can say that, it's the concept of the base of being what is to be perfect.
Yeah. Yes.
Because the imperfections, if there are, for me, there are no imperfections and no mistake. It's just experiences and fact, and that there are things, when we found something that is not perfect or that bother us a little, is to stimulate our creativity to make something different out of it. And I take a lot this example, that it's before any kind of thing material, and even for myself, I change things in myself, not by surgery of things, but by consciousness. I changed the way my mouth was going very down when I was very young, by consciousness from inside. I changed the way my feet were walking like a duck, by consciousness, to put them straight. So I changed my balance, but I changed my way to be as well. And instead of working on bringing consciousness, it's like they project themselves in this virtual world where it's perfect. But you are perfectible as human being, and the imperfection are exactly the doors to stimulate creativity.
Yes. And I do think that that is, you're talking about really having a sense of self, and
Yep.
the things that you talked about working on yourself, those were decisions that you made organically. But if we're making all these decisions very artificially, we're saying, I don't like this about myself, I don't like this about myself, so I'm going to change it. And right now, I know I've spoken to some people that are connected to the younger demographic, even those that are in models and whatnot, where they think looking more like a cyborg, looking more like an alien, is beautiful today. That's their idea of being the perfect looking person, that you look almost like you're not real. So what is this vision that we're calling forward? What
Yeah,
is it that we're what is it that we're desiring of ourselves? Do we really want to look like a cartoon or like an avatar or like a cyborg or, you know, some kind of unnatural human being or a hologram? Do you know? I mean, I can
It's very
see
interesting. It's fascinating to me because, as you know, I'm working with image, and I do self-portraits since a very long time. And a lot of people don't know that all my pictures are self-portrait. I always think I have a photographer. No, I have it with me, yes, you know. But it's very interesting because, yeah, they still see this as an attempt to bring down, manifested in the physical world, the beauty of the divine, even through that. So it's very tricky edge, you know.
it is a very it's a very tricky edge.
Yeah,
It's a very slippery slope. How far are we going to take this? How
it's
far are we going to go? Do you know? Because again, with more advanced technology, we are going to have the ability to, you know, you and I talked about this before. Cloning has been going on for a long time. There was just something on recently, they did it again. I think with another animal that they impregnated and did this cloning. Well, cloning has been around for a very long time.
yeah.
What is it that we want? Do we want to live forever? I proposed that question in the book. Is
Hmm.
that what we are aiming for? Are we so afraid of death? Why was there so much fear when there was a so-called pandemic? When everybody was gripped by fear? Why? They were so afraid that they were going to die? Was that the fear? And we know that wasn't true because, you know, without going into all of the things that happened during that time that are very questionable, you know, people were in fear. Why? Because they didn't want to die, even though they didn't
Yeah,
have
but
to
you see,
die.
this is very interesting because me, I see this as great. Finally, they had to had this to face the fact they're gonna die, because a lot of people are not never thinking that they're gonna die. A lot of people never think about that. Me, every day I go to bed and I wonder if I'm gonna wake up the morning, and I'm enjoying every moment, and I'm wake up and I'm happy. I'm one more day I'm here. And when I go to bed the next day, I'm thankful for my day, because who knows? It's possible. You
But
know, it's something that is
Yasmina,
part of nature.
but when we connect to that, which is very beautiful, and I say that myself, if we can wake up every morning, open up our eyes, you know, you and I are very similar in that we love beauty. We look outside our window, we look at nature. We are not so quick to not really appreciate that. And we stop and with gratitude say, I am one more day alive. You know, this is gratitude. This is being grateful for being alive. It's not some crazy idea of that I want to defy death or I want to manipulate death. It's just being appreciative that you're alive.
Yeah, it's that, you know, for me, all what is going on, it's also, it's not implemented suddenly since 2 years. It started with the prior industrial revolution, when we started to produce too much and too bad and all that. And this was already the origin of who we are, where we are now. And it was necessary for this spiritual evolution. Everything is like perfectly orchestrated to a point that it's blow my mind every single day. I'm away from a couple of days from, you know, social media or news on my, you know, on my computer, and something happens, something new is going out every single day. There is something.
Every
It
day,
goes
every day,
fast. Yeah.
every day, there is something going on, and we have to really remind ourselves. You know, again, my favorite, one of my favorite quotes is that quote by Pierre Teilhard de Chardin: "We are spiritual beings having a human experience."
Mhm.
We're having human experiences, but I'm not going to let my human experiences try and make me forget that I'm a spiritual being. and
Sure.
that our spiritualness, just the fact that we're a spirit that's inhabiting this body, when we connect to that, there's no greater feeling. We
Yeah.
feel eternal. We feel eternal. We don't need to be made into robots. We feel eternal when we connect to the divine.
Yeah. And this doesn't make us not creating material things. Because when you think about everything that is created on the planet comes from the planet. The
Right.
same amount of weight, the weight
Right.
of things, it's transformed. It's just a way, if we are able to have another mindset, this means that we are able to transform our way to see life and to transform ourselves. And we can transform the way we process everything on the planet.
Right.
It's just the same amount of things, the same natural things that are transformed in a certain way that gives all this product and the life we have. But we can also do this differently. It
Yes.
works well for a lot of, and we can see a lot of people goes back to countryside.
Yes, we're
Because,
seeing a lot of that now. We're seeing
yeah,
people who want to return back to the land. They want to become homesteaders. They want to grow their own food. They don't want to live in these smart cities that are taking over with 5G and all of this crazy external electromagnetic energy that's just blitzkrieging us. We're sensing something. That's why I use the word awaken. Just wake up. Wake up to what feels real for you and really pay attention to what doesn't feel real. That's really what I'm asking my reader to do, is to ask yourself what feels most real to you. You know, all you have to do is just connect to your own heart and say,
and
that's not real.
it can be disorientating or disorienting, like we can.
Disorienting, yes.
It can be disorienting because me, for example, you know, I worked as model, I'm doing photography, I was always passionate about fashion and going to do my shootings. And I had so much fun and love to do that and passion. And now I don't. I push myself to do a new series of pictures of my shawl, to promote my shawl or that. I'm not passionate like I was to go and shoot myself and playing with accessories. All this seems insignificant. All this has no taste now for me. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, and it's surprising to me because I could spend days making clothes, sewing, trying, making the most beautiful outfit, and that. It's my life. All my life has been about fashion. Since I'm little girl, my mother was a tailor, so I grew in that. And now I'm like, what is going on with me? I have no pleasure really in that like I had before. I just want to be in my jogging and one shawl and that's it.
Isn't it so interesting that we're feeling this way, that
Yeah.
things are starting to fall away. Things that we thought were so important are beginning to fall away. And you know, last night I was lying on the couch and I started to feel this beautiful feeling just come over me. And I encouraged myself to stay there for a while. I said, just stay there. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to go anywhere. Just be with this feeling. And what does it really feel like to you? And I said, it just feels so light. It feels so
Mm.
free.
Mm.
You know, we don't need to bog ourselves down with things that don't matter anymore. I mean, I think if we asked each and every one of us, what really matters to you? What matters to you? What calls to your heart? Do you be
Yeah.
interesting to hear what people say today?
And it's very interesting because, you know, coming from modeling, I was used to have this makeup, hair done, and all this. And before being model, I was doing it. You know, when I was 20, I was going at the bakery, all made up. You know, and now, yesterday, I tried to put a little bit of makeup on, and it's like I can't. I can't. You know, it's like it's a pain. You know, it's like really, and I'm so happy to be at my age to be through all this process, this step, you know, to be so free now that it's a long time I'm free of makeup, but now it's like enjoyable. I'm like, oh, I don't have, and I know some women who has this burden, they still want to be, and they put, and they spend time on that, and they, oh my goodness, it's such a freedom. It's such
It
a
is
good
a
feeling.
freedom. Yeah, it's so true, and it's such a beautiful feeling. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, we know that we get to a certain age, and it's not just an age thing. We get to a certain place in our lives where we just have acceptance. We just have we just accept ourselves.
But you know, Ora, I'm also honest with myself and with my followers. I always spoke very honestly. This doesn't mean that maybe in some years I will not do anything. And I don't know. Because when I see this from inside, I feel this going down from inside. It's not pleasant. So I said, oh, maybe I can do a little thing. I don't feel about surgery and thing, but maybe something, you know, I'm not against that at all. Not at all.
I don't judge anybody who wants to do whatever they want to do. Everybody has a right to do what they want to do. What I don't like to see is when we see things that look really freaky. Do you know? Suddenly we see people do things and they go so far
Yeah.
that it looks freaky at some
It's for
point.
that I've not done anything yet, because if I'm not someone with fear, but if I could be afraid to don't recognize myself.
And we see that all the time. We see
This would
people.
be horrible to don't recognize myself and don't love
I
myself.
know, I
Oh
know. I
no,
mean,
I prefer to
I,
stay
you
with
know,
my wrinkles.
but look at your, for example, with you, look at your hair. I mean, you're beautiful, and you let your hair go so natural. And I have a girlfriend of mine. She just recently let her hair go completely natural, and it's so freeing when you
Oh,
decide as a woman. And some women might not be ready to do that. And they say,
yeah.
you know, no, I want my hair to be blonde. I want my hair to be brunette. I want my hair to be red. I don't want my hair to be gray yet. But there is something very liberating about giving ourselves the permission to
Mm.
make those decisions, whichever those decisions are. That's personal. Do you know? But I
Yeah.
think the most important thing is that you have self-love and self-acceptance, because we know that we can be very critical of ourselves, and you know, we want to be very aware of that. Do you
And
know?
it's for that we cannot, it's for that I think people really has been shaken, awakened, and because it's pushed them by the frustration of what they lead for 2 years to really what they desire, really what they really, what is really important for them, you know. So it's a good thing. I see this like a really good thing what is going on.
I do too,
And
but I want to just, you know, bring it back to the book for a minute, because I want
yeah.
us, you know, we're talking about being real to who we are. You know, we just mentioned this about being true and real and accepting of who we are. And when you take that and you wake up every day and you feel peace within your own heart, and then you take some of the things that I brought up in the book about why would we be encouraged to try and dehumanize ourselves, and to
Mm.
try and, you know, really not connect to our spirit, or not to really connect to our souls. You know, that's what I want people to just be very mindful of and aware of. Find your truth. Find your own true natural way of moving through this life,
Mm.
and just honor it and just follow it, you know, because we are at a time, going back to what I write about in the book, that a lot of changes are going to be happening very quickly. We're going to see a lot of changes happening, and we're going to have to be making decisions every day. And
Mm-mm.
so that's what I really want to encourage people to say: what feels authentic for me? What resonates for me? Where do I want to live? How do I want to live? Who do I want to be around? What are the kinds of conversations that I want to be having? Who do I want to break bread with? Who do I want to have a
Mm.
meal with? Do you know, be very aware of what resonates to your heart right now, because the other side of it is that we're going to see a lot of changes.
Mm.
And we know that we're already seeing a lot of changes happening very quickly. And I think that if we stay connected to our spirit and connected to our souls and our hearts, that will lead the way. And as we talked about before, be aligned with what feels divine to you, whatever
Mm.
that is, whatever
Yeah,
is divine and sacred to you. Do you know? Follow that. Be true to that.
yeah, yeah. I have no light. And it's almost 1 hour, so I think we're going to close this discussion. And I really encourage people to read your book. I already have my neighbor was waiting, but I finished to get it, you know.
Oh, thank
It's
you,
really, I'm
Yasmina.
really, I really love the chapter, the work, how you work the chapters. Uh, it's very clear, very, I love this book, really.
Oh, thank you, Yasmina. There's a lot of my heart and soul in the book. I know I write about a lot of things that are going on that I think as I said, I think we need to know. But I also love that even my chapter on the Buddhist 8 Noble Truths. I don't know if you got there yet.
Not yet.
It's really beautiful. It's one of my favorite chapters. Like I thought, here I'm writing a book where I have a chapter on transhumanism, and then I write about the Buddhist 8 Noble Truths. And isn't that just really the way life is right now?
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
It's stellar, you know, it's like there and there and there and there. And after we see the connection, and yeah, sure.
Exactly.
Thank you, Ora.
Oh, thank you,
Thank you very
Yasmina. I
much.
always love talking to you.
I see
It's
you
always,
soon.
yes, very soon. I can't wait.
Yeah, me too. Have a
Okay.
good night, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Lots
Yeah,
of love.
bye
Okay.
bye.
Bye.